This is really good. I'm taking this one.
You can have both. Little reward.
So I don't drink anymore, but I used to. It used to be fun. And
welcome to this next episode of Over a Pint. We're here with our guest, Danny Wood, who is someone that I work quite a bit with, and I respect a lot, and I wanted to get on and chat with some things going on in his life. So introduce yourself.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. I'm in the real estate space. Most people know me through that. I have a YouTube channel, and I help real estate agents with generating leads, and I help broker owners and managers with agent recruiting. Brokerage Nation is the name of the company. It's just over almost like 150 offices now are using the program, and 6,000 agents across Canada and the US.
Awesome. So this episode we're drinking Partake Brewing. It's an IPA. It's actually pretty hard to find, and it's going to be a unique episode because it's the first one ever with a non-alcoholic beer.
First and only.
Yeah, most likely. Well, I do have one interview lined up with someone who's never had beer before.
Nice. Okay, so this could be.
We might do another.
Well, this still tastes like beer though, so they're going to be left short because it's like missing the fun part.
It's true. This actually does surprisingly good. Like you almost don't notice. So if you want something, this is actually quite nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Partake Brewing. If you like a good IPA, it's actually delicious.
So most people know me as a guy that doesn't drink, and that's why we're doing non-alcoholic. However, I used to drink, and I really liked the IPAs. I was like a beer connoisseur. I would go to the store and I would pick up just a mishmash of unique beers. Before it was trendy, now everybody's doing it, and it's like the whole store is set up that way. I was doing it like way
before it was cool.
Way before, yeah. And my one favorite beer of all time, I think it's called Mort Subit. I don't even know how to say it. It's French, and it's a little tiny beer. It's like one of those little Coke bottles, and it has a cork in the top. It's fizzy, and it tastes like raspberry. And it's $5 a beer. So $5 for this little tiny, it is the best beer I've ever had, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
I used to buy it by the crate, like the case. I would just buy the whole store because they had a shipping problem where they couldn't actually deliver to the LCBO. So now they don't even carry it because it was a nuisance.
Well, good thing you don't drink now then.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. Cool. This is good.
Yeah, it's delicious. So one thing I really love that you do, I wanted to actually talk about it. So you're on right now basically a 3-year road trip.
Mm-hmm.
So before we kind of get into a bit of it, what made you want to go on a 3-year road trip while running a business at the same time?
Yeah. I've always been attracted to the entrepreneur lifestyle. When I was in high school, I wrote a business plan to the Canadian government, and I just mailed it. I just Google searched Canada mailing off. I don't know what I searched. I just made a business plan and mailed it to the government of Canada with a sticky note that said, if this lands on the wrong desk, pass it forward because I'm looking for funding and mentorship. This is my business idea. 3 years later, I got a phone call, and they called me up, and they say, hey, is Danielle there? And I'm like, you mean Daniel? And she's like, oh, yeah, is Daniel there? And I'm glad I answered the phone because my mom, she'd be like, oh, no Danielle here, hang up. And anyway, so I got $13,000 and business training through the Canadian government to start a business. So I did Saturn, Saab, and Toyota, advertising decals on the vehicle, showing all the accessories that go with the vehicle. When I was in high school, all I read about was business. All I cared about was business. I don't know, I just had this whole idea where I like being creative. And we were just on stage together, so that's why we're in this shady area at the backstage. And so anyways, on the stage, I talked about failing forward. So I did that my whole life. So I made a joke on stage, I failed grade 1 and I haven't stopped. And it's true, I literally keep failing my way forward. And what enabled me to excel later on in my life was my ability to be creative, and no other space welcomed that more than the entrepreneur space. So that's why I got into being an entrepreneur.
And then how did that come into I know with running a business too, it's so busy, and being I'm going to take that really busy lifestyle, I'm going to take it on the road.
Well, the first step was managing my time, so I got really good at the 4-hour work week. So I got prepared because I used to be crazy. Before I got into real estate, I got my license and I worked. It was minimum 16-hour day. Some days were 24-hour, which isn't even legal, but it happened multiple times, and I did that for a year and a half. And when I worked that hard for somebody else, I'm like, man, I can work this hard for me when I get into business. And so I worked really, really hard, and then I realized I was like almost getting sick, and that's why I cut alcohol out. I cut coffee, not coffee because I drink decaf, but I cut caffeine, sugar, pop, alcohol, smoke, energy drinks, all of it, cold turkey. And me doing this on the road, like, I had to have my time back. So I got really good with the 4-hour work week, and then once I got my time in check, where I had a healthy lifestyle, I was doing a lot of running and biking and stuff like that, then I really got hooked on, there's this couple called Gone with the Winds, WYNNS, and they're like our age, and they sold everything, and they hit the road doing an RV trip across North America, and they documented the whole thing. So how they bought their RV, the cost, they have a whole journal of the whole everything. And I've been following them for years, and I've just been like, man, my bucket list is so big on things I want to do, I can't just stay in Oshawa and do it. Then, because you and I do speaking a lot, I'm always traveling, he's always traveling, and every time I go somewhere, I'll stay a day extra, and I'll do something cool in that area. And I just realized I was missing out on a lot of things that I didn't know. So then I'm like, I'm hitting the road full time. So we kept the property. So we still have an address, but we're basically just going with the flow. Every month we pick a new destination, and based on weather. So I've been in Florida for the last like 2 and a bit months. My main bucket list was I want to swim with manatees.
So like there's a video of it online, so you go to his Facebook profile.
I got a really cool video. I haven't uploaded yet. Really cool video. It was a drone shot. We're on the manatees. They're great, 800-pound things. They're actually related.
Cow of the sea.
Yeah, cow of the sea, but they're related to elephants. I don't know how they made it to the sea. And anyways, when you hop in the water, they want to play with you. Yeah. So they'll swim up to you and roll you around and like grab your hand and scratch their belly. It's awesome. And they're not captive, so they're not in a pool and they're not roped off in a free part of the ocean, but they can't get out. Yeah. It's just wild manatees, because in January it's where they all migrate to. And so that was my main bucket. I'm like, I got to hit Florida to be with the manatees. So did that.
So what's next on your bucket list that you're going to be hitting on the road trip?
After that was to live in Disney, to say I lived in Disney. Yep. So we did that. Now I'm here, and I'm going to take my niece back with me. We're going to go do spring break.
Nice.
It'll be like pretty happening place for that. And she's like 17 or 18. I don't know her actual age. And anyways, she's old enough to have fun. Yeah. And so we're going to do that. Then she's going to fly home on our own, and we are going to keep moving. So now we're going to head up the whole East Coast to go to Newfoundland to be in time for when the icebergs break.
Oh, nice.
And the whales. So we're going to be there for that. And then that'll be like summertime, so they're going to cut across Ontario to see family, and then go to Calgary, to the Calgary Stampede, and then keep on going to Whistler area, somewhere around there. And if we can catch the Northern Lights, but the timing's not going to be right because it'll get cold, and that's when the Northern Lights are. So if we can do it, we will. If not, it will be cold, so we're going to go live in California. I'm going to learn how to surf.
That's awesome. I might come visit you in California and learn how to surf.
Deal. Yeah, I got people connecting with me at all different stops. So I have a friend meeting me in Newfoundland. I have my niece meeting me here. So my dad also wants to go to PEI or something like that. And then my mom hasn't told me where she wants to go. But even friends and people watching this video, like our RV, it's like a condo. It is legit a condo. It has a spare bedroom. It has your own private bedroom for guests.
Should Airbnb it while you're on the road.
I could, yeah, that'd be sketchy. But I could it's nicer than my home. Mm-hmm. Put it that way.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. I haven't seen pictures of your home, but I've seen pictures of the RV, and it's pretty up there. Yeah, it's nice.
Well, we started off looking at we were going to get the bus, like I was like Justin Bieber or something, and like do a tour. But then I realized I need 2 vehicles. I need the bus, but then I need a vehicle to go buy groceries and get around. And I'm not good with vehicles, so if I was to fix the motor, I would break the motor. And so I only need 1 motor to maintain. So then I'm like, okay, I have to get a truck and tow the vehicle, or the thing.
Yeah, the trailer.
Yeah, and so I'm like looking at the travel trailers, because they have the same floor plan as the 5th wheel and they're half the price, but the 5th wheel just has way more luxuries for a person that's full-timing. Like we got a washer dryer. It has self-leveling. A lot of times with the ones you pull, you have to actually like drive it up on wood to level it. Like I'm not, man.
doing
So
that.
I just a couple days ago I drove from East Florida to West Florida. It was an hour and a half drive. It took me 2 hours to park. So it took me an hour and a half to drive across from one side to the other. It took me 2 hours, additional hours, to move 50 feet.
Wow.
Because I had to reverse this hitch into a really, really tight area on a really small road with, like, it's a 50-plus community. I don't know how I got in, but I'm in. And
We got a little gray here.
they didn't have much to do, so they were all at the pool watching me, and it was embarrassing. I wasn't sweating because I was hot. I was sweating because I had so many eyeballs on me. I had one girl. She drove her car and parked it like 10 feet away from me, and she was there for over an hour of this 2-hour experience. And I get out and I go talk to her. I'm like, "Am I in your way? Like, I'll totally pull over. Like, I'm not getting anywhere." And she's like, "No, I'm just watching in the air conditioning." She drove her car to watch. I got all these people just like.
That's amazing.
People are out on their porches and like just like I like wave and like I was waving goodbye and they're like waving hi. I'm here for a while.
You know what you should have done is gotten out, put your iPhone down on the time lapse setting, and just had a time lapse video of you trying to park your RV.
It is huge. This thing is. So I just jumped into it. I've never pulled a trailer of any sort. I've never driven anything bigger than like I had a hatchback and an SUV, but the SUV was like one of those sport compact SUV types, and that was it. And then I jumped up to a 350 diesel truck, which was big enough on its own, and then a 40-foot RV that is like wider than my truck and really tall, man. Like when people see me drive by, they're like, "Oh man, you got balls," or whatever. But I'm blind to the fact because I don't actually see how big it is because I only see in my rearview mirror. But if I saw it from their perspective, I'd be like, "No way, I'm not doing that. No way."
Yeah. So how do you manage work? Because like, you have a pretty successful business. So how do you manage work from the road that way?
Everything, well, even when I was in real estate, it was all an internet business. So I just have always treated it like an internet business. And so as long as I have internet, I can do my business. So I do my lead generation from the road. I do everything just from the road like I normally would. It transitioned a couple years ago. I had a really nice office, and it was expensive, like monthly. So we pulled out of that, and we saved all that money monthly. And I was just I slowly started doing things to inch my way towards it as if it was real. So I got rid of my office and I worked from home, and I did that for a couple of years actually. And that whole time, the only thing I would watch on YouTube was RV videos. I should get a T-shirt that says I'd rather be watching RV videos because that's all I watch. So I slowly transitioned myself to being fully sustained from being able to work on the road.
That's amazing. So do you bring like a mobile hotspot with you? Is that how you're doing
Yeah,
the internet side?
well-
Or, like Starbucks.
Okay, so apparently I use 1 gig a day is my average.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Except for when I was at home, it was 200. Because I was playing video games and Becky would be streaming movies, and I don't know, we used a lot of data somehow. I also do a lot of coaching, and it's screen, so it's screen to screen, so that's why I use so much. And anyway, so I really had to pare down. So I don't play video games anymore, and that's really hurting me because
Play offline.
that doesn't count. No, you gotta like make the other people know that
Be
they
chirping
lost.
a bunch of 12-year-olds
Yeah,
doing it too.
yeah.
I do miss that side of it.
Exactly. So, anyways, I had to pull back on most of the internet that I use. I'm using about a gig a day. Bell has a really screw Bell. Like nobody likes their internet or
just let them.
Rogers, Bell, whatever. They're all the same. Anyways, I was already with Bell, so this is who I'm with. And find out if your company has it. But they had a plan called Take Your Own Device.
Yeah.
So my phone number, my 905 phone number, is still the same even when I'm in the States, and I didn't have to change. I didn't have to buy another card. I didn't have to get a new phone. And they have a data plan. And so I got 24 gigs with them. And what's cool about that is it will connect with whatever tower. So if I'm at AT&T or if I'm at Sprint or whatever, it connects to the best one. I also have a hotspot, but I had to buy it in the States. So I got that through Verizon. It's expensive. I think it's like 15 gigs, and it's $100 US a month for
Wow.
15 gigs. I use it up every time. And it's only a Verizon tower.
Okay.
So if I could, I wouldn't get the hotspot. I would just do it from your phone and get as much data on your phone, because then it's always picking up off the best tower.
That makes sense. So roughly, because obviously, like, a lot of the appeal of doing this is kind of like the recreational side of doing things. So, like, given day, like, how much do you find that you're actually working versus knocking things off your bucket list and going out and doing stuff?
Yeah, that's been my biggest challenge. Too much of a good thing. So when I was in Disney, it's like a full-time job, just doing Disney. Like, you're up at, I don't wake up at 7. But in Disney, I had to wake up at 7, and you don't get home till like 12 or even later, depending on what park you're at. So that was a challenge, because that week I basically had to pull the plug from work, and then that created a snowball effect of all the emails that I had to reply to. And then the unfortunate thing, it's fortunate for me, but unfortunate for business, is that the week before that was when I was in Crystal River, where the manatees are. So I couldn't give that up. I had to be with those manatees, because they're only there in January, and next January I'm going to be California. So that means it's like 2 more years away before I can get back to them.
Yeah.
So that was like 2 straight weeks off. So I'm really excited to get back and work mode. And
consistent schedule.
Yeah, I have a plan. I use a piece of paper. It's a simple plan, and I'll write out a list of all the things that I have to get done, and then I prioritize them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then whatever is number 1, man, I just do that. Set a timer for 45 minutes. Sometimes I'm done it before the timer is up. Sometimes I have to reset the timer. But while that timer is going, I don't do anything else. No email, no phone, no Facebook, no anything. And it's like the best way to get it done.
Yeah, is there a specific name to that method? Because I remember there's something similar I've heard about, and it has a specific name. I don't remember what it is now.
Well, there's a book called The One Thing. There's a Mel Robbins on YouTube, The 5-Second Rule. That's a really good interview. She's got a TED Talk that's like life-changing, and a book that is really good. So both of those, Eat the Frog or Eat That Frog, is a book that really helped with positioning my priorities. There's an interview with David Goggins and Joe Rogan, which has nothing to do with business or time management, but it's all about just getting shit done. And I can swear at that moment, because that's how they would say it.
Plus, you can just swear anyway.
No, I wouldn't.
Not that you're a big swearer.
Yeah, that interview, really good. Yeah,
that's awesome. So if you met someone who's like, all right, Danny, I love what you're doing. I want to do something similar. And let's say, like, right now they have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
What would be the steps you'd recommend them taking to be able to do, what, I'm going to do a 3-year road trip?
Oh, totally. Start off with podcast. So go to podcasts and just type in full-time RV or nomad or travel and work. Like, type in those keywords in podcasts, and it'll come up with all these interviews. And I started finding podcast channels that were dedicated to the topic, and I found certain people that I really clicked with, and then I would search them on YouTube, and then I would subscribe to them on YouTube and turn on notifications, and that's all I would watch, is anything to do about before, during, and after of how to make it happen. Yeah, so definitely podcasts and YouTube.
Yeah, I love. And so do you listen now, like when you're on the road, do you listen to a lot of the podcasts while you're driving?
No, because now I'm doing it, so I don't listen to anything about RVing anymore.
Yeah. What do you listen to when you're on the road? Music?
David Goggins. Yeah. No, I'm all about audiobooks. So Audible, everybody knows about Audible. The problem what I don't like about Audible is that it's $15 a month.
Yeah. It is.
You get one book, which is great, but I go through more than one book a month, because I run 3 to 5 kilometers a day, depends on the day. So 3 minimum, 5 if I'm feeling it. 17 miles. I don't know why I do a kilometer run and miles on bike, but I do a 17-mile bike, and then 32 laps in the pool every day.
Yeah.
So that's a good amount of time that I could be using to listen and improve myself. So I use that for audiobooks. There's an app that I use. It's called Playster. 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 They have a music subscription, which is crap. Don't do that. But they have an audiobook subscription. It's like $8 a month, unlimited audiobooks.
Really?
Yeah, so I can listen to a book a week or 2 books a week or as many books as I want. So I use that. Now, they don't have the biggest library, so I'll do that first, and if they don't have it, then I'll do Audible. And there's another one that I use. It's called Blinkist, Blinkst or something. And basically what they do is they take the book, say it's a 4-hour audio time, and they'll condense it to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And what they do, and I'm like, that's stupid. I'm going to miss the book. But what it does is it gives you the Cole's notes and the gist of each chapter and the gist of the book overall, and you're like, oh man, yeah, I got to go deeper on that. So it helps me with finding books that I didn't know were good.
So how do you remember? So like you're listening to all these books, right? And like, because I know I have this issue, because like when I listen to them is when I'm driving. You get a great idea. The book keeps going. You can't stop and take the note.
I take a screenshot of my phone, and it timestamps that moment.
Smart.
That's
I
all I
never
can
thought-
do.
Yeah, because like that's one issue I've had. Is like, it's like especially when you listen to like a really good one, but then it's like point after point after point, and you
Stop
can't
it.
stop it. Yeah,
Take it.
that's smart.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna start doing that.
Cool.
Cheers.
This is really good. I'm
Yeah.
taking this one.
You can have both. Little reward.
So I don't drink anymore, but I used to. I used to be fun. And
yeah, now just complete dull.
so too much of a good thing, man. So when we're traveling, I'm with a group today, this week. So they're all away from their friends and family, and they're letting loose. Like they're at a conference celebrating success, and like free drinks or whatever. And usually, because I'm a speaker, like everything's kind of included, and which sounds awesome, and it is. But it was too much of a good thing. So I'd be with one group, then the next week I'd be with another group, and then another group, and pretty much every fall I'm in a different city every week for 2 or 3 months, which is a lot of cities and a lot of travel and a lot of drinking. And so it was never out of hand.
Yeah.
But what did get out of hand was when I started doing one-on-one coaching. This was years ago. I became a prisoner to the desk. I actually didn't like the one-on-one coaching business model because I had to trade my time for the hour, and that's not what I'm about. And so I had from 9 o'clock to like 5 or 6 o'clock back-to-back coaching calls, and I became like a half a pack a day smoker. So I was a smoker just because I had nothing else to do and I wasn't eating. It was just so unhealthy. And anyways, I came in one day. I went upstairs to wash my hands because it stinks and I hate it. And I looked in the mirror and I literally swore at myself. I'm like, you fucking punk. All these people, in my head, I pretend like people look up to me or like I inspire them, or at least I try to. And so I'm like, man, you punk. You got all these people that think you're like one thing, and if they saw you right now, you're washing stink off your hand. So that was a couple days before my birthday. And I'm like, well, man, if I'm going to quit that, I'm going to quit everything. So I said no alcohol, no cigarette, no energy drinks, no caffeine, no white sugar. I don't add white sugar, but like I'll eat a cake if there's a cake in front of me. But I won't add white sugar to anything. Pop, that was also kind of hard. The hardest was the coffee, man.
Losing the caffeine and the energy boost?
No, maybe.
Just the taste of
yeah,
coffee.
I don't know. Coffee tastes like, I don't know why we like coffee. It actually tastes bad, but anyways,
Never had one.
The smell of coffee gets you. And what?
Never had a coffee.
Don't start. Anyways,
Don't plan on
stay
it.
away. So anyways, the coffee was the hardest one for me to quit, and I had to replace it with something. So I started making these my own energy drink, where it would be a big blender, and I would put a full carrot, a full celery, a quarter of a green pepper, 2 big heaping fistfuls of green vegetables, an entire banana, frozen mango, frozen berries. I go to the bulk store and I pre-mix a bulk mix of really healthy stuff that tastes like crap, like psyllium husk and hemp hearts and all this stuff that I don't even know about. So I put it all in one container and mix it up. That way when I'm making my thing, it's just 1 scoop. And then nuts, almonds, walnuts, hazelnuts, cashews, and something else. There's like 5 of them, all in a big container, shook up, and I'll do a handful of that, and then top it off with water, and I blend it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you hear all the healthy food that I just put in that thing? I don't need coffee, man. That is my breakfast, lunch, my energy drink. That is everything.
So is that basically like your meals during the day? You just blend and basically drink?
Yeah, I'm not doing it for a diet, like to lose, obviously. I'm not trying to lose weight, but I am trying to stay healthy, for sure. And I noticed that, how do I say it? Your poops are healthier. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah,
And like
go
the
for it.
next day, your body digests that way better than when I was eating like chicken wings for lunch.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I just found it to be, I crave it now. Like I'm jonesing for one because we were here for a couple days and I don't have it.
So how long did it take till you started getting that? Because like I know with me, like, I've done the big weight loss, and then I've gained it all back. Mm-hmm. So how long until you kind of started craving the healthy side of it?
Instant.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that never happened for me. When I was like, I lost 70 pounds.
Right.
I never once made that switch because like I basically was completely healthy. I cut out everything bad. Like I stopped drinking too.
Yeah.
And I never found during the entire, like it was like over a year of me doing it, I never found I started craving the healthy stuff. I always still wanted what I used to eat, and I never ate it.
People always ask me when I quit cold turkey, how did I feel? I'm like, the same. I didn't feel any different. There was no difference. And that was one of the things that proved to me, I'm like, well, screw it. I don't need it at all. And these energy drink things that I make, it was like maybe a month. Give it a month. I'm just making up a number, but it was maybe a month. And like, if a couple days goes by, my body is like telling me I need more of that. Yeah. So maybe you just weren't eating the right stuff.
It's possible.
You got to try that drink that I make. It's really good, man.
Let's post the, remind me, or I'll remind you. We'll post the recipe in the...
I'm going to do a live video next week about it for my group. So I'm doing a whole health thing. So I do this group coaching call every other week. I do a coaching call. There's 23 or 2,400 people on it. And it's all about marketing and technology. But this upcoming seminar that I'm going to do is on how to be healthy with a busy lifestyle. So I'm going to go through what I eat as far as that. The biking and running, obviously, like 17-mile, people are going to be like, well, I can't do that. This is how I got into exercise. I got a square piece of paper. It's just a blank piece of paper, just a square. And I would draw a grid on it, and it would be 30 or 31 squares. And I just had a goal. I'm like, I'm going to go to the YMCA, and I'm going to try one of every class, even the classes that I would get made fun of for being in, like the Zumba, Roomba dance, swimming with older people. Like, I did everything, and I discovered that I really liked spinning, which in my head, I was making fun of it. I went in those doors the first time, like, thinking the same thing I thought with the Zumba. Like, this isn't for me. And totally was, and it totally fixed me. So I would say, get a gym membership and try and do one of each thing, just to like go through the
find the one you like.
Find the one that you like, yeah. Once I found the one that I liked, the next month I just tried not to miss one a week. I could miss 1 day a week. 6 days a week I had to hit it, and so I would do the ones that I really liked. When I first started, so for running, I used to be a runner, and then I hurt my knee, and I totally thought that I couldn't run anymore. And the spinning fixed my knee, where I could run again, which is a miracle. Yeah, total awesome. And so anyways, when I first started getting back into the running, I would set a timer on my phone for 4 minutes, and then I would just run in one direction. 4 minutes later, it would ding off, and wherever I was, I would just turn around and come back. That was it. You don't even break a sweat. Well, maybe. Some people would. Yeah. But so set it for 2 minutes. It doesn't matter. Just set a time, and you go and come back, and you just keep pushing. And now I've got it to the same time. Well, it's a little longer. So it takes me 4 minutes is like my average running speed per kilometer. So I can do a 5K race in under 20 minutes if I'm pushing it. So I'm still doing 20-minute runs, but the distance is a lot further.
Yeah.
And it's just because I kept incrementally adding to it.
Getting faster and faster.
Yeah. I'm doing a 5K race. Part of this road trip is to do a 5K race in each state and each province. Yeah. And I'm trying to get it sponsored, not for the money. I don't want money. I just want them to pay for the tickets for like the event or whatever. So I'm hoping that can happen. And then I got a secret surprise. I'll tell you after the video. Anybody watching this video, if you're still watching, message me and I'll tell you. It's really cool, but I don't want to spoil it because my mom might watch this and it's for her, so I don't want to say it.
Fair enough. Well, we do have to run to our next session though.
All right, man.
So this is going to be the end of the episode for this one. We'll do another longer one day.
Cool.
When you're back or we're crossing paths, maybe we're learning to surf in California or something.
Right on.
But appreciate you being a guest. And where can they reach out to you?
Okay, awesome. 905-903-5442. That is my cell number. coaching@danwood.ca is my email. Just search me up on Facebook and message me that way. And cheers to you.